I can even understand scanning communicators, private assistant bots. But a VARiograph? Real? Seriously? I just don't believe you expect us to go through that. Now, we're not talking about a procedural audit. We're talking about a memory scan of our biochips, about our most intimate privacy, about some bot copying everything you've seen, heard, said, and thought for the last 8 months. And you have no guarantee that what is recorded will be deleted later and not wind up online, or be used against us by the company. Every thought, conscious, semi-conscious, unconscious, every word, look, everything, every intimate detail, every ass scratching will be recorded on VARiograph.
All right, let's dive in, and I mean really dive in this time, into some serious future tech. We're going way beyond, your typical phone upgrade or the latest app.
Yeah, this is the stuff that gets philosophers and sci-fi writers all fired up, but honestly, it's closer to reality than we might think.
Exactly, and that's why we're here, right?
Okay.
To unpack it, figure out what it means, not just for our gadgets, but for us as humans.
And the source material we're using to guide this deep dive, it doesn't disappoint. We're talking excerpts from a sci-fi novel, but it's the kind that feels eerily prophetic.
Okay, so to set the stage, the novel throws us into a world where communication tech has taken a quantum leap. Forget texting and video calls, we're talking brain implants and telepathy.
Straight up mind-to-mind communication, no wires, no signals. The novel calls it BNI, Brain Network Interface.
BNI. It sounds almost too sci-fi to be real, but then you dig into the science behind it, and it's like, whoa, hold on.
Right, and the novel leans into that, explaining how it leverages quantum entanglement.
Okay, now you're just using big words to make me feel dumb.
No, I promise it's not that complicated. Think of it this way. 2 particles, linked. No matter how far apart they are, they're connected. They can share information instantly.
So like if one particle changes, the other one does too, even if they're like galaxies apart.
Exactly. It's mind-bending. That's quantum physics for you. And in the novel, they've figured out how to use this entanglement for, get this, telepathic communication.
No way, so I can just think about like ordering pizza and boom, it shows up at my door.
Not quite pizza yet, but in the novel, people with these BNI implants can send thoughts, emotions, even sensory experiences to each other.
Okay, now that is seriously cool. But also a little creepy, right? Like, what about privacy? If I can send my thoughts, can someone else read them?
You're hitting on one of the novel's core themes, because along with this awesome tech comes a device called the VARiograph.
VARiograph, that sounds intense. What is it?
Imagine a brain scanner on steroids. It can scan not just your brain, but also your BNI implant, and it can pull up like every single memory you have, your thoughts, your emotions, everything you've ever seen or heard.
Wait, so it's like total access to your entire life, all your experiences? That's a lot.
Right. And the novel uses this VARiograph to explore some seriously tricky ethical questions, like imagine your boss suspects a data leak and decides to use the VARiograph on the whole team to find the culprit.
No way that would be a total invasion of privacy. Like, forget about a lie detector test. This thing sees right through you.
And in the novel, this very scenario plays out. The head of this tech company, Rick Archie, he's convinced there's a mole on his team and proposes using the VARiograph.
Oh, so it's not just some theoretical what if, it's actually happening in the story.
Yeah, and another character, Teely Lee Wang, she pushes back hard, arguing that it violates their employment contracts, which guarantee a certain level of privacy.
I mean, she's got a point, even if you're innocent. The idea of someone having access to every single thought, every memory, it's unsettling.
Absolutely, and the novel doesn't shy away from that discomfort. It forces you to ask, how much privacy are you willing to sacrifice for security?
Right, and who gets to decide that? Is it the government? Corporations? Do we even have a choice anymore?
Those are the questions that keep coming up, and it's clear that the novel is using this fictional world to hold up a mirror to our own anxieties about tech, about privacy, about control.
Okay, so we've got this incredible communication tech, BNI implants, instant telepathy, but then the VARiograph that can literally read your mind. It feels like we're teetering on this edge between amazing possibilities and, I don't know, some kind of dystopian nightmare.
And that tension, that uncertainty, that's what makes this deep dive so compelling.
Because it's not just about the cool gadgets, it's about what they reveal about us, about our hopes, our fears, our flaws.
And maybe, just maybe, it's a chance to learn from the mistakes of this fictional world before we repeat them in our own.
Yeah, like a heads up, a warning from the future. And trust me, folks, you're going to want to pay attention to this one.
You know, it's funny though, right? Like, we worry about privacy, but at the same time, we're sharing more and more of our lives online.
Oh, totally. Like it's this weird paradox, right? We
Yeah.
crave connection, we want to be seen and heard, but then we freak out about someone knowing too much.
And this novel, it really nails that tension, right? It's not just about the technology itself. It's about how that technology amplifies our existing human tendencies, those contradictions.
So like with Rick and the VARiograph,
Mm.
he wants to protect his company, find the leak, but is scanning everyone's memories really the answer? Like, is that the kind of control we want to hand over?
Well, and who do we hand it over to, right? Because it's not just corporations that could misuse this tech. Tech governments could too, for surveillance, for propaganda, even thought control.
Okay, now that's getting a little Orwellian, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like Big Brother reading your every thought.
And some of the characters in the novel, they definitely feel that way. They're suspicious of anyone in power, anyone who might try to use these BNI implants for their own agenda.
Well, and can you blame them? I mean, look at what's happening now with the algorithms and social media. They're already shaping our online experiences, what we see, what we read, even who we connect with.
Right, it's like a subtle form of manipulation, and we're already seeing the consequences. You know, filter bubbles, echo chambers, it's dividing us.
So are these BNI implants just taking that to the next level?
Mm.
Instead of shaping our online world, they're shaping our reality.
It's a scary thought, right? And the novel doesn't shy away from that. It explores what happens when those lines between reality and virtual reality start to blur.
And what about AI? I mean, the novel has these super advanced AI bots that are like more than just assistants. They have personalities. They engage in philosophical debates even.
Yeah, it raises
It's like in that scene with Nick Wright. Rick takes away his XR glasses and his smart compass, so he starts interacting with AI bots online. And the conversations they have are deep. They're meaningful. It's like he's finding connection in this unexpected place.
right, and it makes you wonder, you know, as AI technology continues to evolve, is the future of communication going to be more about human-to-machine interaction or even a blend of the two, like some kind of hybrid consciousness?
Okay, now that's trippy.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense in a way. Like if we're already augmenting our minds with technology, why not take it a step further?
And that brings us to this mysterious character, Tang In Yu. She's a futurist, and her abilities are just off the charts. You know, she can hack into anything, evade any surveillance. It's like she's not even human.
Yeah, she's like a ghost in the machine, a digital whisper.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, is she a glimpse into the future of human evolution? Like, what if we could all enhance our minds and bodies with technology to that extent?
The novel plays with that ambiguity, right?
Mm.
Is she human? Is she an android or something else entirely? And I think that's part of what makes her so fascinating. She represents this unknown potential, this possibility that we haven't even begun to grasp.
Okay, but here's the thing that freaks me out a little bit. You know, if someone like in you exists, someone with that level of power and knowledge, who's really in control.
Right. Is it governments, corporations, or are there forces at play that we can't even comprehend shaping events from the shadows?
Yeah.
That's a question the novel leaves us wrestling with. And honestly, it's a question that I think we all need to be asking ourselves in the real world, too.
Because the future is coming, whether we are ready for it or not. And the choices we make now, the conversations we have, they're going to shape what that future looks like.
And this novel, it's not just a story, it's a warning. It's a call to action, to really think critically about the technology we're creating and the impact it's going to have on humanity. And it's not just like individual control we've got to think about. It's like societal control, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like what happens when this tech gets into the wrong hands?
Yeah.
We've already seen how easily information can be manipulated online.
Exactly. Like, imagine that, but amplified 1,000 times with BNI implants and the VARiograph.
Okay, so like propaganda, fake news, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But beamed directly into people's minds.
Exactly. And it's not just about controlling what people think. It's about controlling what they do.
Like making them vote a certain way or buy a certain product or even commit crimes.
And the scary part is it might not even be intentional. You know, like a glitch in the system, a coding error could have catastrophic consequences.
Oh, wow. So like instead of a computer virus, we got a brain virus.
Yeah, and the novel touches on that. It shows how vulnerable we are in this hyper-connected world. You know, one wrong move and the whole system could collapse.
It's like we're building this incredibly complex machine, but we don't really understand how all the parts work yet, and we're just hoping it doesn't blow up in our faces.
Right. And the novel, it doesn't give us any easy answers. It just raises the questions and forces us to confront the potential consequences of our actions.
So where do we go from here? I mean, is there any way to protect ourselves in a world where technology is evolving so rapidly?
I think it starts with awareness. You know, we need to educate ourselves about these technologies, understand the risks, and be willing to have open and honest conversations about the ethical implications.
We can't just blindly trust the people who are developing this tech. We need to demand transparency, accountability, and safeguards to ensure that it's used for good, not for harm.
And we need to be proactive. You know, we can't just sit back and wait for the future to happen to us. We need to shape it with our choices, our actions, our voices.
So what do you think, folks? Are you ready to take on this challenge? Because the future of communication, it's in our hands.
It's time to decide what kind of world we want to live in, a world where technology empowers us or a world where it controls us.
That's all the time we have for today. But this conversation, it doesn't end here. Keep thinking, keep questioning, and keep pushing for a future that benefits all of humanity.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of communication.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep those brainwaves buzzing.